raised here in Florida. Been here all my life. I'm a good-hearted person, very kind. I love fishing. I love people.
Dear America was a real good look at, issues within America, uh, specifically with um, drug use and in Florida, and how many different socioeconomic factors lead to that. I think it was super informative and very in your face of like, these are real issues. I feel like nationally there's a narrative around Florida like, oh, whatever, they're just crazy down there. That Florida is like the crazy cousin out of all the states, and it always gets a bad rap, so people don't really pay attention to the issues that are going on there. For instance, with drug abuse and homelessness and issues like that, you usually hear about it in the Northeast, and opioid epidemics going on up there, because they tend to come, those tend to be wealthier states, socioeconomically. So you hear about it more, and it's talked about more, but it's not as much in southern areas and in Florida. Like, I really didn't know how prevalent of an issue it was until watching this piece. So I think you inform it really well, and I think having an individual story and narrative lead this issue also humanizes it as well. And I think that's a really important thing to look at when you are dealing with issues like homelessness and drug abuse, and realizing like these are real people. So I think you do a really good job creating that emotional connection with the story, as well as being incredibly informative. So very, very well done.
I think Dear America does a really great job of humanizing homelessness and challenging stereotypes by giving people the chance to tell their own stories, and talking about their challenges and the paths that led them there, and the resources within the community that are there to support them, and why those resources are so important. I think it's a really great short film that does a really important job in tackling those stereotypes.
Dear America, I thought this was really, really powerful. I loved the story of it. I loved how like raw and real he was himself, and describing the kind of person that he wanted to be, or how he saw himself, and just lightly kind of touching on how he got kind of into the situation that he was, where he had turned into somebody that he didn't like or recognize. And then he brought up a lot of really great points. These kind of community centers that offer so much aid and assistance are so important, and they're so huge in these kinds of communities, and having those resources and making sure that these places are still open is paramount to a better society, I think. And getting to see that in such a humanized way with this one person's story, and you really bonded to him and his story, and want to continue to see these places and these things do well and thrive. And I think that in general in America, the entire situation, top to bottom, politically, in our policies, statewide, in like different states, in local communities, is such a large problem and such a large issue to try and tackle, that people often get really overwhelmed by it, and don't know where to start. And I think that more stories like this, where it really highlights that every little bit helps, and these kind of centers really help, and just trying to see other people as human, and changing a mindset around it can make all the difference. And I think that that's really, really important and really powerful.
Dear America definitely underlines a root problem that I believe we as a society face, and that's the issue of homelessness. Uh, they bring up a very good point of the fact that uh, when someone is homeless, they are essentially stripped of their identity and they are stripped of their humanity. You see the problem of homelessness, however, the solution is less rehabilitation and more to sweep it under the rug, to hide it. Uh, there's never an active approach towards helping those in these situations. And at the end of the day, every single individual has their own story of how they got there, how they're how they ended up in this situation, uh, and an active approach definitely needs to be made because without it, people are suffering, and it is very unfortunate that they have to live in these conditions without being given another chance. Like I said before, they're stripped of their humanity, and when you're at that lowest point, it's very hard to be given that opportunity because you're essentially given a label. Um, but I feel like documentaries like Dear America are essentially the wake up call that America needs.
This was an absolute sobering look at Florida and the problems in that state. Some, we're aware of. There's just drugs are rampant and homelessness, but this piece as a portrait really helps humanize the issue. We follow the one fellow around and we get really into his story and see it through his eyes, and it again just humanizes in a way that's really important for a topic like this, because it's too easy to just consider the statistics and the numbers and disregard it, but they're real human beings behind these issues. So for that reason alone, I'm glad this one exists in a way that helps shed light on the situation, but also focuses in on a specific individual. So really great work. It was really wonderfully put together. Great attention to detail here. Really good work.
This documentary was really, really, really great. It was sobering and tragic and beautiful and sad. I think, telling documentaries about drugs and important issues and issues that we need to be aware of, they can quickly feel like a PSA or just a didactic, just visual, and they can be sort of hard to consume. This one didn't do that. I think looking at an individual and their story and our protagonist's tragic story and his journey through addiction was really great because it gave us an insider, sort of inclusive, personal look at a wider global issue. It makes the audience feel connected and feel like they can understand the issue from inside out as opposed from outside in. It was really well told. The interviews were conducted beautifully, and I think everyone should be very proud of themselves.
Dear America shows exactly what the problem is through the eyes of one man within the United States. It was beautifully done because of this. It's simple and to the point, but still beautiful because it shows exactly what the problem is within this country. In the United States, we really shouldn't have homelessness unless somebody chooses to be. It shouldn't be because they're impoverished and forced to be. Because I know there are some people who choose to be homeless, but it shouldn't be an option where no one has any other choice. This shows exactly what the issue is, and it's something that's to the quick and to the point where it doesn't take much out of someone's day to watch it. And while the average citizen can try and help homelessness, we really need the politicians to step up their game to help, but all they do is talk a big talk. They don't really care to help, which this documentary kind of pointed out too, where those who are homeless, like the man being interviewed, he knows where to go get food and a shower, but he doesn't really feel helped by the government. We need to do something about this. We all know we do. We just don't know how. And like I said, this documentary, if it was shown to more people, would maybe make an impact, because it's one person doing one small thing that could make a difference.